Kensuke's Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo. Chapter 3. Ship's Log. September 20th. It's 5 in the morning. I'm on watch in the cockpit and no one else is awake. We left Southampton 10 days ago now. The channel was full of tankers. There were dozens of them going up and down. So either Mum or Dad took turns on watch the first 2 nights. They wouldn't let me. I don't know why not. There wasn't any fog and I can see as well as they can. We were planning on sailing about 200 miles a day. That's about 8 knots. But in the first week we were lucky if we made 50 miles a day. Barnacle Bill warned us about the Bay of Biscay. So we were expecting it to be bad, and it was. Force 9 gale, force 10 sometimes. We were slammed about all over the place. I thought we'd sink. I really did. Once, when we came up on the top of a wave, I saw the bow of the Peggy Sue pointing straight up at the moon. It was like she was going to take off. Then we were hurled down the other side so fast I was sure we were going to the bottom. It was bad. I mean, it was horrible, really horrible. But the Peggy Sue didn't fall apart, and we made it to Spain. Mum gets quite snappy with us sometimes when we don't get things right. Dad doesn't seem to mind, not out here, not at sea. He just winks at me, and we get on with it. They play a lot of chess together when it's calm enough. Dad's winning so far, 5 games to 3. Mum says she's not bothered, but she is. I can tell. We only spent a couple of days in La Coruña. Mum slept a lot. She was really tired. Dad did some work on the rudder cable while we were there. He's still not happy with it, though. We set off for the Azores 2 days ago. Yesterday was the best day we've had for sailing. Strong breeze, blue sky, and warm sun to dry things out. My blue shorts blew off the washing line into the sea. It doesn't matter. I never liked them much anyway. We saw gannets slicing into the sea all around this afternoon. Really excellent. Stella Artois went mad. I'm fed up with baked beans already, and there's still stacks of them down below. October the 11th. Today I saw Africa. It was in the distance, but Mum said it was definitely Africa. We're going down the west coast. Mum showed me on the chart. The wind will take us down the coast for a few 100 miles, then across the Atlantic to South America. We mustn't drift off course, else we'll get into the doldrums. There's no wind there at all, and we could just sit there becalmed for weeks. Forever, maybe. It's the hottest day we've had. Dad's very red in the face, and the tops of his ears are peeling. I'm more nutty brown, like Mum. Saw flying fish early this morning, and so did Stella. Then Mum spotted a shark off the port bow. A basking shark, she thought. I got the binoculars out, but I never saw it. She said I had to write it down in my notebook anyway, and then draw it. I looked them up. They're massive, but they don't eat people. They just eat fish and plankton. I like doing my drawings. My best one so far is a flying fish. I sent a card to Eddie from the Cape Verde Islands. I wish he could be here. We'd have a real laugh. Stella loves to chase the football round the cabin and pounce on it. She'll puncture it one day. I know she will. Dad's been a bit gloomy, and Mum's gone to lie down. She's got a headache. I think they've had a bit of a tiff. Don't know what about exactly, but I think it's about chess. November the 16th. We've just left Recife. That's in Brazil. We were there 4 days. We had a lot of repairs to do on the boat. Something was wrong with the wind generator and the rudder cable's still sticking. I've played football in Brazil. Did you hear that, Eddie? I've played football in Brazil and with your lucky football. Dad and me were just having a kickabout on the beach, and before we knew it, we had a dozen kids joining in. It was a proper game. Dad set it up. We picked sides. I called my sides Mudlarks, and he called his Brazil, so they all wanted to play on his side, of course. But Mum joined in on my side, and we won. Mudlarks 5, Brazil 3. Mum invited them back for a Coke on board afterwards. Stella growled at them and bared her teeth, so we had to shut her down in the cabin. They tried out their English on us. They only knew 2 words, goal and Manchester United. That's 3, I suppose. Mum had the films developed. There's one of some leaping dolphins, another of me at the winch, Mum at the wheel, another of Dad hauling down the mainsail and making a right mess of it. There's one of me diving off a rock into the sea when we stopped in the Canaries. There's one of Dad fast asleep and sunbathing on deck, and Mum giggling. She's about to dribble the sun cream all over his tummy. I took that one, my best photo. Then there's one of me doing my maths, sulking and sticking my tongue out. Christmas Day at sea. Dad found some carols on the radio. We had crackers, all of them a bit soggy so none of them cracked, and we had the Christmas pudding Gran made for us. I gave them a drawing each, my flying fish for Dad and one of the skipper in her hat at the wheel for Mum. They gave me a really neat knife they'd bought in Rio, so I gave a coin back. You're supposed to do that, it's for luck. When we were in Rio, we gave the Peggy Sue a good scrub down. She was looking a bit manky inside and outside, but she's not anymore. We took on a lot of stores and water for the long haul to South Africa. Mum says we're doing fine, just so long as we keep south, so long as we stay in the west to east South Atlantic current. We passed south of an island called San Helena a few days ago. No need to stop, nothing much there, except it's the place where Napoleon was exiled. He died there. Lonely place to die, so of course I had to do a history project on Napoleon. I had to look him up in the encyclopedia and write about him. It was quite interesting really, but I didn't tell them that. Stella's sulking on my bunk. Maybe it's because no one gave her a Christmas present. I offered her a taste of Gran's Christmas pudding, but she hardly gave it a sniff. Can't say I blame her. I saw a sail today, another yacht. We shouted Happy Christmas and waved, and Stella barked her head off, but they were too far away. When the sail disappeared, the sea felt suddenly very empty. Mum won the chess this evening. She's ahead now, 21 games to 20. Dad said he let her win because it was Christmas. They joke about it, but they both want to win. January the 1st. Africa again. Cape Town, Table Mountain. And this time, we're not just sailing by, we're going to put in there. They told me this evening. They didn't want to tell me before in case we couldn't afford it, but we can. We're going to stay for a couple of weeks, maybe more. We're going to see elephants and lions in the wild. I can't believe it. I don't think they can either. When they told me, they were like a couple of kids, all laughing and happy. They were never like this at home. These days, they really smile at each other. Mum's getting stomach cramps. Dad wants her to see a doctor in Cape Town, but she won't. I reckon it's the baked beans. The good news is the baked beans have at last ran out. The bad news is we had sardines for supper. Yuck. February the 7th. We're hundreds of miles out in the Indian Ocean, and then this happens. Stella hardly ever comes up on deck unless it's flat calm. I don't know why she came up. I don't know why she was there. We were all busy, I suppose. Dad was brewing down in the galley, and Mum was at the wheel. I was doing one of my navigation lessons, taking bearings with the sextant. The Peggy Sue was pitching and rolling a bit. I had to steady myself. I looked up and I saw Stella up at the bow of the boat. One moment she was just standing there. The next, she was gone. We had practiced the man overboard drill dozens of times back in the Solent with Barnacle Bill. Shout and point. Keep shouting, keep pointing. Turn into the wind, get the sails down quick, engine on. By the time Dad had the mainsail and the jib down, we were already heading back towards her. I was doing the pointing and the shouting too. She was paddling for her life in the green of a looming wave. Dad was leaning over the side and reaching for her, but he didn't have his safety harness on, and Mum was going mad. She was trying to bring the boat in as close and as slow as she could, but a wave took Stella away from us at the last moment. We had to turn and come back again. All the time I was pointing and shouting. 3 times we came in, but each time we passed her by. Either we were going too fast or she was out of reach. She was weak by now. She was hardly paddling. She was going under. We had one last chance. We came in again, perfectly this time, and close enough for Dad to be able to reach out and grab her. Between the 3 of us, we managed to haul Stella back into the boat by her collar, by her tail. I got her, "Well done, monkey face," from Dad, and Dad got a huge rollicking from Mum for not wearing his safety harness. Dad just put his arms around her, and she cried. Stella shook herself and went below as if nothing at all had happened. Mum has made a strict rule. Stella Artois is never to go out on deck, whatever the weather, without a safety harness clipped on, like the rest of us. Dad's going to make one for her. I still dream of the elephants in South Africa. I loved how slow they are and thoughtful. I loved their wise, weepy eyes. I can still see those snooty giraffes looking down at me and the lion cub sleeping with his mother's tail in his mouth. I did lots of drawings, and I keep looking at them to remind me. The sun in Africa is so big, so red. Australia next. Kangaroos and possums and wombats. Uncle John's going to meet us in Perth. I've seen photos of him, but I've never met him. Dad said this evening he's only a distant uncle. Very distant, Mum said, and they both laughed. I didn't get the joke till I thought about it again when I came on watch. The stars are so bright, and Stella was saved. I think I'm happier than I have been all my life.